what's up, everyone? Welcome to Screen Smash. I'm your host, Dan Morris. Joining me this week, we have Jake Brown in the brown coat.
Yo. It's not brown. I mean,
It's brown.
No, it's like black. I don't know. My wife says I'm colorblind. I don't realize.
It's brown.
It could be maroon, burgundy. Anyways,
black.
Maria Kinnun.
It's maroon. Yeah.
Hello.
Whatever.
And also, we have a special guest joining us this evening. We have Chase Bethea.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome.
Chase, you are here because, one, you're a cool dude, and I'm happy to get you on here and talk to you because, but also, you are a video game composer, music maker.
Yes.
Titles, correct?
Yeah. A video game composer. Maestro of the video game music.
That's pretty awesome. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get to know you a little bit and talk to you. We don't have to go too hard on it, but why don't you start us off with just a little background about yourself, who you are, where people can possibly find you, and anything you want to talk about tonight that you've worked on.
Yeah, sure. So I've been working in the industry for over a decade now, and I've shipped about almost close to 25 games since that time. So the portfolio is getting quite big and getting more excited about that. My work is typically known from the soundtrack of A Ground, and also possibly most recently, my other award that I just recently got from the Next Awards is On the Peril of Parrots. So won 2 awards for that. I was also nominated for my score for I Can Escape Darkness, which is the sequel to I Can Escape, which is a really popular game that even Markiplier had played back in the time. So that was interesting there. And then I've been featured in Destructoid for my work for Cubic Climber. And so I've been just writing games for, like I said, so long. It's one of my greatest passions. I love it. And continue to hopefully do it for the rest of my life and go from there. I was born and raised in Chicago, and I've been around like music most of my life, and I played alto saxophone, was in choir in fifth to seventh grade. Then I moved out to California, and then I ended up going to Moorpark College and getting a composition degree. And then before then, I was at Los Angeles Recording School getting an audio engineering degree. And then I went to Cal State Northridge and got my media composition degree. So all the degrees to make sure that I was actually doing school while I was in the industry. So by the time I had got to the bachelor program of Cal State Northridge, I was already nominated for that score for I Can Escape Darkness. So that was doing a really interesting path of a challenge, to say the least. I don't recommend most people do, but I made it possible to I decided I wanted to work in the game industry before I finished school. So I just made it happen. But yeah, just currently scoring about like several games right now. Most of them I can mention is that Stardander, which is also developers of A Ground. They is Stardander School for Witches, and that's a visual novel RPG. Currently wrapping up the score for that, and then I'm also scoring the sequel to A Ground, which is called A Ground Zero, same developer, and doing both of those at a different time. And then I've got like a couple of different projects. The Windrush Tales, and that's by Threefold Presents, which is a historical game in itself. It's actually now featured in the British Library. So it's pretty impactful if you're not familiar with the movement of Windrush. It's a very historical thing about how people from the Caribbean came over to the UK to help with jobs and rebuild the UK after a certain war. And so to be part of this history of my heritage is partially Bayesian, or people say Barbadian, but in the islands we say like Bayesian of our terms of referencing ourselves. And the UK, which actually my mom was raised in the UK, but she's born in Barbados. So this is kind of like a whole tie-in to that, which is, I'm very fortunate to be part of that project. And so if you want to keep up with me, I'm chasebethea.com, and you can find me on Twitter. And if you're interested in collaborating or of course, just reach out to me on my website, or you can.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, if there was a dev out there who's heard your work before and wanted to contact you, is that the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, those are the best ways. Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely appreciate some of the work that I've heard of yours. I have to dig into the ground one a little bit more, but what I've seen, I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. But definitely your most recent project there at the Peril and Parrots, that one was one of the first ones that I checked out after getting introduced to you. And I was like, oh, these are some jams. Like, yeah, all right.
Jams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really good stuff. But yeah, let's get into some fun stuff. Thank you for telling us all about, where you've come from and how you've gotten here. And like, it's just awesome to hear about how you did that. And let's just talk about some of our favorite video game music. And, like obviously music is an essential part of any video game. And you can't not have music in a video game, or even maybe the lack of music in a sense to really add to atmosphere and tone. But you actually wrote, was that a blog about your top 50 soundtracks?
Yeah. So I was challenged when I was at Cal State Northridge, someone who wanted to get into games, it was kind of like being like a Clark Kent in class. I'm not saying I'm Superman of this, but it was mostly like, they thought that I came from, like, they didn't know that I had already done so many games that I was nominated by that time, that I had some of these things already done. So someone approached me and said, hey, so how does it go? And what do you do? And then he was something on breaks. And then he challenged me and said, hey, I'm going to be going on vacation or something over the break. I need your best recommendation of video game soundtracks. Go. When I was thinking, okay, so I gave it to him, but then I thought, I bet I'm going to get this question again at some point. I'm just going to make a blog. So I ended up just making a blog out of it. And I'm glad I did, because I actually did get that question quite a few times.
What's your characteristics that you apply to like the best, soundtracks? What exactly applies to that?
Eclecticness. I'm not, and you can tell through the list that I have that it's not the typical list. It's not a Super Mario. There's not a lot of Zelda on there. There's not a lot of the normal of whatever people surfacing of or that people really gravitate to. My ears are very distinguished in knowing, okay, and this is because of specific games I was introduced to that I gravitated to. I games that I was introduced to as a child, a lot of it was just most like given to me or like slightly introduced, but I didn't. If people talked about Star Fox and Super Nintendo, I didn't have that. But my dad had Mega Turrican on Sega Genesis, and Chris Hulsbeck scored that. So that doesn't sound like Star Fox, right? It's a whole different type of style. And with that, I look when I have my Game Boy, I have Batman Forever because I traded a game with a friend, and then I have Stargate, or I have Turok Battle of the Dinosaurs, and I'm enthralled with that music. And that's not.
I picked up on the Turok Game Boy game. I was like, Turok on Game Boy, really? Like, but that was like you. Yeah. Like, I didn't play that game growing up, but I did grow up playing Universal Soldier on my Game Boy. And that music is burned in my brain. The Jurassic Park games on Game Boy. I still have them.
I remember Game Boy. Yeah,
those are burned in my brain. But it's like, man, I never think of like the Game Boy to think of, video game music and how important it could be.
Masterpiece. It's hyper important. I mean, I play Turok Battle of the Dinosaurs music all the time, and to go back in the level design, it comes back for it. And yeah, Alberto Gonzalez is just pure genius for the work that he did. But just in that sense, taking with Yuzo Koshiro on Beyond Oasis and the style that he did that, and people know Yuzo Koshiro for Streets of Rage all day long, but no one talks about Beyond Oasis and the range of that happened. And it's like, that was my introduction. I had Mega Turrican, I had Beyond Oasis, I had Pitfall. Everyone else had, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I played that in Earthworm Jim. But
and you're gonna have to suffer through Jake and I every time we're gonna talk about Donkey Kong Country. Because we both think Donkey Kong Country is one of the best video game music of all time.
I mean, I get it.
I have the soundtrack on my computer. I will put that on and listen to it like while I'm editing and stuff. It's a jam.
It's a jam. Yeah. It's a jam.
No, I said nothing but bangers on it.
It's just. yeah, for sure. I was fortunate actually by the three I've mentioned: Alberto Gonzalez, who did Turok, Yuzo Koshiro, Beyond Oasis and Streets of Rage, and David Wise, who did Donkey Kong Country. All three of those follow me on Twitter, and so it's amazing to know that they like my work so much, and there's reasons why that kind of happened in every scenario. But the ones that y'all mentioned, I'm connected to, and it's like that one of those. I can't really believe that I was playing their music, and now the internet is just great. The internet is just awesome.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. So did you guys? I want to give everyone a chance here to I kind of jumped into it with the Donkey Kong Country, but Jake, Maria, let's see if you guys can share some of like your notable video game music that you can throw out there just to kind of like get us rolling.
I like the Silent Hill soundtrack. I'm kind of a fan of the Akira Yamaoka.
Oh yeah.
Mainly because I used to play the piano. And so I used to learn a lot of his scores on the piano, like the Not Tomorrow and the Lisa's theme and all that sort of stuff. Like, I really do like those songs. I got to see him live once and he does a lot of the songs with Elizabeth Mary McGlynn, who does the vocals for the Shattered Memory soundtrack. So yeah, I'm like kind of jamming that a little bit. And so yeah, it's one of those like weird ones. It's not something you really want to listen to on the down because it's kind of depressing. It's kind of like it's just one of those. After a while, you start listening to it, and you're like, I kind of want to not be around anymore. But it's got I got a thing for that. The piano music. I'm a weakness for that.
That's kind of like in my opinion, kind of like the best music, that like depressing music.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, so it brings emotions, and like I think that's what does it for me with a lot of the video games. Like, there's a lot of great games. Like, I love like the epic music and whatnot, and but like I think the majority of the music that I listen to is the stuff that brings out like the memories and emotion in me. So it's like it makes me sad, but in a happy way.
Yeah.
Personal experiences, like I love the soundtrack for Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio's Family, and Venice Rooftops. Like, I had that on as a kid. Like, that was the music I was into. Little personal, but when my parents got divorced when I was in high school, like every time I play that game, that's what I think of. Like, I think of running around those rooftops, stabbing people left and right, listening to those songs on repeat. And so like when I hear that, like it triggers it, and it's like it's that happy cry because it was such a terrible time in my life, but I loved it somehow. Like it's weird, man. It's creepy what like video game music can do to you in general.
That's what music just does in general anyway. It takes you to a place, a certain kind of unlock. But yeah.
Yeah, you you make these emotional attachments to the music, to the time in your life. Yeah. The first thing that I can throw out there, like it's similar to you, Jake. I'm sure a lot of it's gonna be the same for me and you, because the first thing that I'm gonna go to here is Halo. And Halo's themes, Halo's main themes, and how hard that hits with me, to the point where like I get that happy sad. I get the sadness, but it's all nostalgia. It's me thinking about happy times or times like gone past that, are gone. Like, especially old school, like Halo, playing Halo back in the day with my buddies, doing LAN parties, playing online, multiplayer, playing co-op through Halo 1 with my buddies. It's not going to happen again. It's not going to be the same, but like I hear those Gregorian chants and the and I'm gone, I'm in a different place at that point.
I mean, that kind of music does that for me anyway. Like I playing like Destiny 2, like the music's so epic, it just makes the world feel a lot bigger than it actually is. It's just got that very like heroic like holiness to it, where it's like, oh, it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, I think it does that because it's supposed to put you in a mood. And so yeah, and that Destiny 2 is another one that I like. I really like music, but again, it's the same people who did Halo. So
different composer though.
Yeah, but it's that same kind of feel to it. I like Sonic music too.
Like it's very iconic. Like like you said, Dan. Like with Halo, I think of like Run, Halo 1 and 3. Like every time I hear that music, I was like, man, like it brings me back to that first time playing it. I was playing a split screen with my older brother, and just like how epic that was. It's like it's a feeling you want replicated, but you can never really get it back. Like playing that game for the first time over again, like you can never really get it back. It sucks.
All by myself.
Holy cow. It's sad.
Oh, man. Depressing.
What about you, Chase? You got happier ones?
That's what it is. You got happier music?
Right.
Wow.
I understand the nostalgia that y'all are talking about, but I do and live and breathe this like every day. I still listen to the Turok Battle of the Dinosaurs. I still am listening to Tomb Raider 1996 by Neil McCree. And most of the thing is really because I've figured out how to incorporate it into my lifestyle. And so I work out almost every day as long as my body like feels good. And so I made a video game workout playlist. Yeah. And so I've conflated stuff from near Gestalt to, like I said, Tomb Raider, Shadowgate, Turok, and what is the other one? Killer Instinct, the 2016 one, and a little bit of Assassin's Creed as well. And even though I haven't played all of these in terms of beating them, or I have, or whatnot, I understand the energy that it brings, and I just absorb it as it is. And some of them, the memories that I have, like one of them is an educational game I have, and so it's my warm up for stretching. And I think it's like Clue Finders, which is one of these mathematical type of games. I was sucked at math when I was in like 5th, 6th grade. Then my father bought this game, but that music is amazing. Like education games have really good music. Mm-hmm. So I use that as a warm up until it gets into some Tim Follin from Time Tracks on Sega Genesis stuff. And it's just an eclectic piece of, and then to some Ridge Racer. So I don't really have, and like, yeah, I mean, so yeah, I could be sad. I could choose that, but I guess I have the nostalgia, but the nostalgia of the energy that I have is just mostly, yeah, I remember that, but I'm here now and I still get to enjoy it. It's accessible. I don't have to get my Game Boy to put on a sound test or trick my PlayStation to turn the lid on and hear my 1996 Tomb Raider soundtrack and use the CD player version of that. I can just go to YouTube or khsinsider.com and have a blast.
I mean, there's certain songs that I've been jamming lately. Mick Gordon with the Doom soundtrack. Yeah, you want to fuck some bitches up? Put some Mick Gordon on. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Mick Gordon did the 2016 Killer Instinct, so I'm jamming off of that one.
The 2016 Doom, you just want to beat people up. Yeah.
I never get tired of the old original 1993 Doom, like Master of Puppets ripoff, because it's 100% what that song is. It's just a ripoff of Master of Puppets.
I do kind of get sick of it because I hear it all the time.
Yeah, you specifically, Maria, have a problem.
It's like listening to Hotel California for you, probably.
Well, right now, as we speak, the other room, there's Doom playing. Absolutely, there's Doom playing in the other room. But
I live and breathe it.
Wow.
So her life living with like a Doom fanatic. But in this moment, I had this thought too, when I think about like when I go to the gym and I work out, actually, one of the things I listen to more often than not typically video game music. Sometimes I do, but what I tend to listen to are actually bands that have music that's inspired by video games. And a lot of my favorite tracks that I listen to they're like electronic bands that have these songs that, like, if you didn't know any better, they could have been plucked from Metroid from 1993, but then modernized into a new song. But they're not, like, they're hearkening back. And the band that I'm thinking of right now is called Chipsel. And I jam out hard to them. Oh. I don't know if you are aware of Chipsel.
Yeah, we were nominated on that same thing from that thing. So, and I have to meet Chipsel. They're great. So yeah, but yeah, okay. I was thinking you would say, I'm thinking like more than, I'm not sure if they are more than one person now, but so yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop when you said Chipsel. I'm like, wait, okay, I've been out of the loop for a bit.
This is one of those things that like it came up in like my Apple Music playlist, and I'm like, oh, this is a jam, and then I'm like adding everything of theirs into my playlist. And there's a new one that I started listening to called Algorithm. They're more of a like a heavy metal version of like just music that sounds like it could have been from a video game, but in much more of like a heavier kind of riffing. But yeah, that's kind of like my thing is like I listen to a lot of stuff it gives me the feels of video game music without actually being video game music.
From a video game, yeah.
Which is interesting now that I reflect on that plenty, but then I could turn around and like listen to some of the classic soundtracks that I love. And I'll get to that point where I'm like, I hear this song and I'm like, oh, nope, this song makes me think of that shitty year I had in 2006. Nope.
Skip. I like how everybody kind of has like that gaming playlist for like working out. Like, I love that because it's like, I get in my head sometimes and thinking like, am I the only one that does this? Am I weird?
Yes,
because it's like I do the same freaking thing.
You hit a certain level on the treadmill and you're just like,
You get on the treadmill and start playing like the Sonic theme, like let's go. Do 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 do.
No, it does make a big difference.
No, it does, man.
Because I used to run track, and So I actually have the Sonic Adventure, the Lost Maze on there, and I'm not gonna lie, that stuff gets me pumped. And I run, and you just get into a rhythm, and you just want to run fast, because if you played on Dreamcast, you're obviously not gonna be as fast as that. But to do the action with the music outside of the game, it really is kind of cool. So if anyone's interested, they can check out my YouTube, and I think I made the playlist public.
Oh man, seeing, like, I'm not gonna lie, the Sonic Adventure theme, the soundtrack and stuff, like especially like the ones where it's got the singing in it and stuff, it's really cheesy. But when you start really getting into it, and you're like, I can't get on much longer. You're like, it's like jamming. It's like headbanging to Sonic. This shit's awesome.
Yeah, I remember that there's one song that's got like some like hardcore metal in it, like screaming, like, like what the hell?
What is happening? Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
I'm just picturing now, like running on a treadmill now, like gotta go fast.
I don't know if you guys ever played the for the Game Boy Advance. You ever play like the Legacy of Goku Dragon Ball games and Boo's Fury and stuff? Oh my god, man! Let me tell you, like, I know they're remixes from the actual like anime and show, but like to me, it sounds even freaking better, man. Like that's a song I put on my playlist.
The chiptune versions, for whatever reason, are better.
Yes, like 100%. And then there's another game which I've never beaten the game. I've tried to play it, and I get caught in this endless like loop to where it's essentially like broken for me. It's called Punch Club. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not.
I don't know.
To me, the best I can describe it as is like it's like a Rocky simulator. I think it's by Lazy Bear Games. You can get it on like Apple Store, Android, whatever. I think it's on Xbox consoles too. But the music reminds me so much of Rocky, and has like the perfect workout theme. And like I feel guilty every time I play it and I listen to it, because I'm like, I haven't beaten the game. I'm probably never going to go back to it. This song goes so freaking hard, man. Oh, definitely look it up. It's like a little. The logo is like a bottle cap, like a little soda bottle cap with like a fist.
Yeah, never heard of that.
Definitely have to look it up. It's so good.
Gonna have to check it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's like
any more video game playlists? Go ahead.
Video game the music to Sonic Mania. That was a kind of a surprising one. They kind of put a bit of like the retro style to it, but I've got it on vinyl. It's that good.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's like a casino level and stuff, and you're just playing. You're like you're fucking jamming out.
Oh yeah,
the casino level.
I mean, yeah. But just I'm thinking of the casino level. The 2-player is on Sega Genesis Sonic 2. That's on the playlist for me, and it's like and it only is what's great about it is that music doesn't play on a single player. You have to get that. You only play 2-player to hear that music. So I love that they change that, whereas it's not the same for the level is the same, but the music is not, depending if you have another person to play with or you don't.
That's very cool. I have a deep, passionate love for Legend of Zelda, especially Legend of Zelda music. And Chase, I believe you've got a little bit of that too, if I had anything to guess from. And when we were talking about happy music, one of the first things that's popping in my head is some of like the shop musics in some of the Zelda games. And it's just to get that just pops in my head, and just like you could just jam to that. I would literally just put Link in a shop, just let him sit there while I go about doing other stuff and just kind of jamming along, or like the Wii shop menu music. How is that so hard? How does that go so hard?
I know. Yeah. The Wii, something about the Wii music. It's like really bad elevator music, but it just gets there.
It's got a lot of bass to it too. It hits hard.
That's gonna be stuck in my head now. I'm like, I'm not mad about it.
No, that's a good point. Like, I'm thinking for me, when you said Zelda, my 2 pieces came to mind for me from the Zelda series, and it's probably not the most popular because, again, my ears are eclectic and I have this obscure taste with video game music. But
that's what I'm here for. The uniqueness.
And it is the Link's Awakening theme. Thank you. It's the Link's Awakening theme, and I think it's when, if anyone had played, they probably have played it by now on the Switch. But I played
the original back in the day on the Game Boy.
And Yeah, the original. Yeah, before it was DX and then it was on the thing. Yeah. So then you remember when you find the doll for, I think it might be the Yoshi doll for the baby through the trading. And there's a certain music that goes in for the house and like, like it's so lullaby and tantalizing. And then what also leads into something tantalizing is the observatory song from Majora's Mask. Put that on tonight. Put that on tonight. I guarantee you'll fall asleep.
Yeah, those lulling songs, especially like some of the Great Fairy music, and just some of those songs, just like do 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 do, like it's great, but it's like it'll like lull you to sleep. But I'm also thinking some of my favorite songs probably come from Wind Waker, because I think Wind Waker had some of the best energy in some of their songs.
Very good.
I can't name the tracks off the top of my head. I don't have that.
No, that Rolodex of library stuff. I know it's amazing. Yeah, Ocean Theme. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. You do your thing. Yeah.
You got this.
No. One of the tracks from Aground, Brave Crusader, Ocean Theme, Wind Waker, heavily inspired that. Cool. You can hear it. You can hear it at some point. But yeah, it's absolutely, I need to go listen and compare now. That thing is crazy.
So now that I'm thinking about it, the other thought, and my brain is trying to think of songs that I hate from games, especially because they're like the ones that get stuck in your head, and you're just like, I fucking hate this song.
Oh, Jake has one.
Go for it.
I have one. And I know it's probably very controversial because people probably love it. I hate it because it puts me to sleep. The Minecraft music.
Oh yeah, the little piano.
I was not expecting that.
I kid you not. Like I bought the map packs just so I could listen to different music. So like I'm not the biggest Skyrim fan, but I'm like, I'll buy it for that freaking soundtrack. Just so I won't hear ding ding.
That is a good point.
Like if you're playing that game and you're playing it by yourself, if you're not playing with people, if you're playing it by yourself and you're just like, I'm gonna just all right, crafting, building some stuff, dead quiet, and you just hear the little piano just going off. I'm like, I'm not trying to go to sleep right now. It's such a terrible experience, man.
Mind you, this is just mere moments after I talked about the equivalent Zelda music that puts you to sleep, but I love it for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't love it, so.
I might have a hot take too, because the first song that pops in my head of a song from a video game that I absolutely hate is the Dragon Quest theme.
Oh, I can't remember it.
Don't know that song.
I don't know it.
Like I was living with a roommate when Dragon Quest 12 came out, and hours and hours and hours, it's just the Dragon Quest theme blasting out of his room nonstop. Just I'm like, you've been playing this game for days. How is it the same song always nonstop? And it's just that main chorus. Oh, it drives me nuts.
Dun, 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 I had to do it. I had to see if he was going to catch on.
It's just the same thing over and over and over.
Well, disrespectful because I thought you would have chucked some headphones at him.
No, I literally went in there and I was like, "Are you just like sitting in the menu?" And he's like, "No, that's just the music." And I'm like, "But it's been going on for hours." And he's like, "Yeah, it's the same song all the time." And I'm like, "Okay."
That's not what I played on Dragon Warrior 1 on Game Boy. It wasn't the same music all the time. What did they do? They got lazy or something? Dragon Quest 7 has some of the best music
even now when they announce a new Dragon Quest game and it starts and it opens with that I'm like, no.
You're like, it's like a bad commercial you've seen so many times.
Yeah. And I play Builders. I like Builders, but I hate that music.
So you got a playlist going on. Yeah. That's not Dragon Quest.
Yeah, what's your most hated video game playlist?
Yeah, let me tell you about the songs I hate.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, KK Slider needs to be kicked in the dick. Just saying, from Animal Crossing, I cannot.
Oh man,
I cannot. I just want to take his ukulele and shove up his ass. Just cannot. It doesn't really class as video game music though, but I cannot. Sorry.
For me, I think Maria already said it. It's actually one of those harsh vocals from Sonic Adventure games typically come in. I'm not vibing with that stuff. It's just not. There's that energy just doesn't. Someone wants to sing "Live and Learn." I'm running. I'm living and learning to run the hell the fuck away from that damn song so fast. I'm out. But one game I remember playing that I thought I really disliked. I thought I hated the music. Turned into be one of my favorite soundtracks that I really love. But I can guarantee it's definitely not by popular opinion. So it's Eternal Ring. And so, interestingly enough, years later, Eternal Ring came out on PlayStation 2. Yeah. It was one of those launch games in 2000. And if you're not familiar, From Software made that game. So I remember, I think on my LinkedIn, it says before there was Eternal Ring, which I was like, oh my God, Elden Ring.
I actually talked about that. I talked about that on my old show. I was like, I wonder if Eternal Ring and Elden Ring are connected in some way because they're the same developer.
Everything is... Yeah, it's a first-person Dark Souls. So, which obviously Dark Souls moves into Bloodborne, moves into Elden Ring, and
From Software before Eternal Ring was making that other game that was basically Dark Souls in first person, and I'm blanking on what it's called. Yes,
King's Quest.
Yeah,
I got you. I know the most of their history of terms of
I've been getting deep into some of that stuff lately. Like every time I learn another game that I've played was a From Software, and I had that like, holy crap, I didn't know that was From Soft. Like I played Eternal Arms back in the day, and then I realized like, oh, that's actually a From Soft game. No idea that was From Soft. And then Ninja Blade,
that in Front Mission. Ninja Blade.
They did a Togi.
But one Xbox game. Yep. There's another one I'm thinking about too. I think Evergrace. I think I have that and I haven't popped it.
We're going down a FromSoft rabbit hole now.
Yeah, I know I was going to say like people are like, I don't know where these ones are going. But
what about Eternal Ring? You were getting into like
Eternal Ring. Yeah, so if anyone plays, they did the remaster for it on PS4, thankfully, because the PS2 one, the lighting is really harsh to see. I played through the entire thing, but when you first start, it's got this weird MIDI style music. And I remember thinking, I played some video games and some video game music, but this ain't it. I don't know what's happening. Then something weird changed after I continued on through the game. And I'll be fucking damned that shit really just grew on me by the time I finished the game. I have it's on the playlist of the video game workout thinking it's really good. But when you hear it, you're thinking, hell no, what the fuck were y'all thinking? What is your problem? And no, that composer is definitely really, really great. I appreciate that so much because I kind of resonated with it because that's kind of like what my music has been, right? Like it doesn't, at the first listen to the majority of the time, it's not going to catch people right away. But it lasts over time. And it's not something in a small 30-second loop form. I'm writing music at 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes. So I put you on a good journey of knowing that because what you were saying, Dan, was like, how the fuck this thing playing all the time? My mom was saying that when I was playing it, and she was like, I can't do this. You're driving me crazy in here. Like, you got to turn this off. So when I decided to be a video game composer, I was cognizant about that. But it's still not one of those, hit you with the over-the-tone melody like an Undertale. But what I know is that I know I'm going to get you for the long term in a very sly way. And it's not going to be one of those like, oh, what is this? This is mostly, I can't pin this anywhere, but I like it. And that was Eternal Ring. That's what happened. It was mostly, why is it doing this? Because by this time I'm already a video game composer, so I'm analyzing in different ways. But yeah, I ended up doing a whole breakdown musical article about it. Because it was masterful. And I think that composer ends up still being on Dark Souls and I think Elden Ring too. So longevity is.
Yeah, and I definitely like all the music in those games. Like a big fan of Dark Souls, Elden Ring's composer. Just the way they put together the music and the set pieces, especially with like, I mean, Dark Souls is synonymous now with the evolution of the boss battle where it starts off one way and then it gets that like usually like, oh shit, like here comes another another portion of the boss fight. Like stuff's getting real now.
Yeah, all the way. But yeah, that's my love. That was my hate-love relationship with Tunnel Ring. But then at least I give the example of the one I just can't do. And there's others, but that was the one that came to mind that Maria mentioned. I was like, sorry, Maria.
I'm going to throw this out there because I know what it's going to lead to, and that's Uncharted's theme. Because these two both are massive Uncharted fans. I'm a massive Uncharted fan too. But
is that what the Nathan Drake?
Who's that? Nathan Drake.
Who's that?
Wait, come on, you can't tell me that there isn't some like deep-seated love for Uncharted.
the theme, the
theme.
Yeah, but especially there's also a part with in the fourth game when there's that part with the piano music on the Jeep. That, yeah, I mean, that's the one I've got. But yeah, no, Nate's theme when it's like from the intro from the fourth game is the best rendition I've heard of it. Yeah.
Where they have like all the drawings on like the journal, like and like splatters, and oh man,
you just gotta like
that hits me in the feels.
Yep.
Like that's like that. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's that emotional like feel. I want to cry, but like happiness. Like every time I freaking hear it.
Also, as well, when the credits rolled at the end of the fourth game and it played, and it was just kind of like, it's over.
No, because they had like the slight rendition of it at the end when you're playing. Everybody here played it. Spoiler alert. And 3, 2, 1.
I played 4. Okay. I played and beat 4. I got to be careful with my words here because it's very important. Like people say you play it, they assume that you beat it. So I played and beat 4 at Naughty Dog at the studio. I'm not going to talk about it, but I played 1 and I didn't play anything else. So if you're going to talk about the rest of them, I will go back to it. But I'm on the table for 4.
At the end of the fourth one, like the very end, the epilogue when you're playing as Cassie and you're running like on the beach to go find, like where the heck is my mom and dad? You hear that slight rendition of Nate's theme. And like, that's it reminded me like the little piano that Maria was talking about. Like that gives me chills too every time I hear it.
I learned to play it on the ukulele. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Next week, live performance.
I'm going to take my ukulele to Comic-Con. I'm just saying.
It's funny that the relationship that I have with the Uncharted or Nate's theme, because for some reason my brain defaults to like the low part of the song when it's just that yeah, exactly.
Oh, thank God one of you sang it, because I've been here so quiet because all I could think of is I don't remember the music, but I do remember hearing "No Drake" the whole time, and you already know. Yeah, that's what I do remember. I do remember that. I don't know what they're talking about.
The death scream.
Yeah, I was thinking. So thank you for singing it, because I'm like, oh, okay.
Welcome to the podcast of awful renditions of good music by people's faces.
It's a shame we haven't gotten taken down by copyright.
Yeah, we're that good. So well. Well, I mean, there are certain iconic songs that do have that nostalgia thing. One of the ones for me is the intro for Metal Gear Solid 2, The Sons of Liberty.
Yeah. Harry Gregson Williams, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking of him too earlier. I almost mentioned that earlier.
I had a funny experience. So at the time I played Metal Gear 1, 2, and 3 growing up. And I brought Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 over a friend's house one day, and he's never seen anything about Metal Gear. And so I booted up Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm showing him for the first time, and we sit through the intro, and I'm like jamming out and whatnot. And then the intro's over, I turn it off, and I put in Metal Gear Solid 3. And he goes, Why did you just play the second one and immediately take it out? We haven't even got to the main menu. And I straight up said to him, I said, well, the intro to the second game just goes hard, but the third game is better. That was my reasoning. I played it for the intro and then just go, but the third game is better. We got to play this.
So that
both games are great, by the way.
I don't want to derail from Metal Gear too much, but this is a small departure. It's another Hideo Kojima game. Tell me if you guys have any connection with this, but Zone of the Enders.
Thank you. I knew it.
All right. So Zone of the Enders 2 goes real hard. And I absolutely love the theme song that goes along. And I actually, so I was trying to show this game to Brandy, and I put on like the trailer for like the PS4 version, the Mars version of it. And it like, if you've not heard this song, like I can't even explain. It has some of the most intense violin I've ever heard. And it's Hideo Kojima's classic editing style with a trailer where it goes really long and it builds and builds and builds. And then it has this really sudden like black screen ending with credits and then people talking. And you're like, what are they talking about? And then they'll be like, wee, wee, wee. And like, I watched that and I'm sitting there like, oh, like chills. And Brandy straight looks at me and goes, this is terrible. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I'm a violinist and I could not stand that violin. And I went, you go to hell. You go to hell and you die. So that was a weird moment for me because like I love that song so much. And then Brandy just straight like takes it and like throws it in the garbage and lights it on fire.
Yeah,
like, how dare you?
How dare you? I have to hear it. It brings me places.
But knowing that you got excited when I brought up Zone of the Enders, I'd like to hear your thoughts, Chase.
Musically, the only thing I can
or you're just happy about Zone of the Enders. You don't have to talk about music in general.
I'm happy about Zone of the Enders. I did play around the time where people were playing more Metal Gear, so I was it was in that kind of realm. But themes and stuff, it's got that sci-fi orchestral type of stuff. And ironically, like I just actually released a track for licensing that's similar to that. So when you said that, I was like, I relate when I'm saying if you like Zone of the Enders, this track is something like that because that's kind of the realm of where it's at and things too. And I was just going through my 800 physical copies of games that I have in my catalog that I love. I'm a big retro game collector, and I found my Zone of the Enders copy. I'm thinking, I'm coming back. It's gonna come. It's gonna be a day. It's coming. Just hang tight.
I'm gonna get you.
So yeah, that's my little memory thing.
It's good stuff.
Going back real quick to how Maria said she learned the Uncharted on the ukulele. For Metal Gear Solid, I learned the intro on piano quite a years back. I don't think I remember anymore. And then I learned the piano, the guitar intro for Metal Gear Solid 4. I don't know if you remember that, Dan. I know you I can't remember if you played it a lot or not. But it kind of has that like do. And it's like
okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now like it hit my head. I was like, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
I got you, bait.
I don't know, Metal Gear has always been like such a great soundtrack though. And like I was very I know Dan I know you love it too. Metal Gear Solid Rising. Yeah. There's not you find me a song you don't like on there.
This entire soundtrack is a complete banger.
I had a Nokia 3210, the house brick phone, and I didn't want to buy ringtones, so I programmed the Metal Gear Solid 2 intro into my phone.
Oh snap!
So I had it played. So my phone rang and it was like. I did the whole song on my phone. I was really proud of it. But then I gave the phone to my dad, and he had the Metal Gear Solid 2 ringtone for no reason.
Every time Maria's phone rings, she goes, "Metal Gear, it can't be
Metal Gear." Yeah, I wish I was skilled enough to put the Uncharted theme on, but I wasn't.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah.
I remember programming ringtones on my cell phones, my flip phone, and I got to get the software.
Any of the youngins out there are like, what?
What?
You can program ringtones, cables,
dial-up modem,
flip phone. I miss my old QWERTY keyboards.
You're weird.
But that was for the good old days.
Good times.
My back didn't hurt. Yeah.
When my eyeballs didn't hurt, I'm playing in the dark and I want to turn the freaking lights on because I'm stuck in the fucking water temple.
I mean, one soundtrack that did give me anxiety, even though I love the song, is the Sonic Labyrinth level, the underwater one one from the first game. I can't remember the song, but I just know you drown in that level.
Yeah.
It's just
Is it Ancient Aquatic Ruin?
I think so. It's
Aquatic Ruin Zone.
It's the one where you have to get in the bubbles and you go, but it's just like it just gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I love it, but
it's like yeah, I did a whole transcription of that and I just posted on my Twitter the other day, so that's how I know what you're talking about. You're just like,
if there was ever more iconic levels in a video game between Sonic's water levels and like the original TMNT games, damn water level, like the most anxiety you'll ever get out of a person with a video game and the music that goes along with it, especially the drowning in Sonic or the timers running out in TMNT and you're trying to swim your little ass through this to the dam.
Oh man, like, you want to talk about the fear of drowning? Metal Gear Solid 2, that level. Oh my god!
Again, that game.
Yeah, no, that was the game that got me. Like I was like, oh my god, no, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this.
I don't want to play it.
Like I have that weird thing of like
Metal Gear Solid on Game Boy.
No, not on like on PS2.
PlayStation.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking, did either of you actually play the one on
Metal Gear?
Oh, just out of curious because
no.
I know that one's like because I know that had some really good music and the mechanics and stuff too. Just kind of curious. But I know what you were talking about the PS2. Sorry,
isn't that? I think that one's getting ported though to
Well, it might become in that collection, right?
The collection. I know they're including that. I think they're doing 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then whatever's in the collection. So that'll be neat to see because I really never dove into those.
Hold out hope that the second volume of Metal Gear Collection is going to have Metal Gear 4 on it, so we can finally play Metal Gear 4 on a different console than the PS3.
I don't think we can talk about video game soundtracks without mentioning Grand Theft Auto, though. Like,
yeah, we can. Move on.
No, the first game didn't have any popular music in it. They made songs for the radio, and they were custom songs that you could just drive around and listen to. Yeah, it'd just be like something about someone marrying a truck or something. You get in the little truck and you drive around, and it's like I'm married a horse, and you're just listening to this song. It was genius.
Oh, I'm glad it didn't sell mine yet. I'm gonna go back and play that now. I think I have that here now somewhere. There's all kinds of
songs that they play, and you're just like, oh. Just drive around.
See, now when you talk about Grand Theft Auto music, my first thought was Vice City, because Vice City was the first one that brought in licensed music.
Yeah,
and I love all the music.
Yeah, so I thought you were going with that.
Yeah, I started on 4, I believe.
I actually didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I was San Andreas.
3 was great though, especially with all the
I was 3, Vice City, then San Andreas. Those are in that order. I remember.
Yeah. I mean, you like talking about, bringing licensed music like the Tony Hawk and all that sort of stuff. Kind of killed the video game music thing, though. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
2.
That's it. Video game music out of the window. We're just going to start talking about licensed music.
But I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Color. Not only does it play well, it actually does have really good music.
I played one on the Game Boy Advance, and I remember that too. Tony Hawk on the Game Boy Advance.
I think I played Tony Hawk's Underground 2 on the Game Boy. I don't know if I've ever played this.
I thought that was on GameCube.
I think they made one for the Game Boy Advance. I could be thinking of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, but I thought.
Oh, that game was good.
I don't know. Go ahead. It wasn't that great. It sounds
like I want to play Pro Skater.
Now I just want to bust out my Jurassic Park and play that on the Game Boy, because that's a banger soundtrack.
That was good.
I'm thinking about the eggs in that game that we have to go collect in the Velociraptors. I don't know if many people who play Jurassic Park Game Boy did, so that's a relate.
I forgot about that game for years now. Oh my god.
Ooh, but we keep going down some crazy rabbit holes. But that's what nostalgia is good, and that's what music's good about.
There's
like
so
those
many
memories.
Yeah,
and you can sit here all day, just like, and then this, and then this. There's it's just the branching paths that constantly.
Well, that's the thing is, like when we first started, I was just like, I can't really remember them now, and I'm like, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one.
And then you're like, well, how can we not talk about? We could easily be like, well, how do we not talk about Mario? How do we not talk about Metroid? How do we not talk about Castlevania? We'll be here all night, easily.
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio Future.
Yes, I was going to say Jet Set Radio.
Yes,
Jet Set Radio. Yeah.
Oh man,
I got JetX 2.0. That soundtrack is actually massively good, and actually need to give a big love to Exit on the PSP. just recently on, it's like a puzzle game by Taito. And I'm enamored with this. I've been playing this game for like 8 years now because I go on and I go off, but it never stops where I don't ever have to play it over, just play exactly where I left off at. And recently, level 6, when I got to last week, had I love that music so much because it's got this weird sax that's going. And I'm like, oh my God, how are they doing this? And it should be annoying for the plays, but it's just got this weird chord progression. So this is where the obscurity comes in. Whereas I don't think generally a lot of people would gravitate to it, but the puzzle music in level 5 drove me up a wall. And this one was such a breath of fresh air. I was like, I don't want to finish level 6 at all. I'm not going to get through any of these puzzles. And then I did. And then level 7, I'm thinking, that's not as cool as 6. Why do that to me? So yeah, I just want to give a big love.
I remember that game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I might have, like, I was big on the PSP when that came out, and I was trying to play like anything and everything I could get my hands on. But like, I know the game. Like, I definitely remember the game. I can picture the logo and everything. And
yeah,
but you said PSP and talk about puzzle games. My first thought is like Luminous and like, oh,
Luminous Plus, yes. That first song, oh my gosh, yeah. Shining. Whew. That's on the video game workout playlist too. You cannot not work out to that game music. That music pumps. Just the way, the interactivity. Luminous actually inspired on the Pearl in a way for that to kind of be dynamically there. Yeah, I studied it, but I'm not nearly as good as the people I've come across who can do like get up in those levels and level 53 and stuff. I
love the music progression in Luminous. It's crazy.
How are y'all doing this? Yeah. It's fantastic.
Anyways, yeah, go play that. Go try to see if you can't find anything and everything that we've managed to squirrel all over throughout this conversation tonight. But yeah, that's going to do it for us tonight on Screen Smash. Thank you so much for joining us, Chase. This has been a fantastic conversation. You could sit here just nerd out.
Thanks for having me.
Anything all day.
Yeah. No, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been definitely a jocularity.
Right? Yeah. We like to just keep it real.
Nostalgia.
I don't know what that means in the world of Screen Smash, but that's what we're doing. So thank you, Jake. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Chase. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you all next week on Screen Smash. Goodbye.